High five! I'm going to start today's video a little bit differently. As we started to do at school, we'd started to introduce some idea of fluency, so I wanted to try and get that in the videos. So coming up soon is a screen with number of the day and then lots of questions. Now you've got two choices. Number one is to pause the video and work your way through all of them. Or number two is it's going to be on the screen for about 30 seconds. So you could try and challenge yourself and get as many done in that 30 seconds as you can, and then the answers will come up for you. So good luck! Well done if you got lots of those correct. I'm now going to go through yesterday's challenge. So Russell says that 3/8 is greater than 3/4 because 8 is greater than 4. Now when we're thinking about fractions, 8 is greater than 4, but when we're thinking about our denominator, so eighths and quarters, a quarter is actually twice as big, because if you think about splitting a cake into 4 pieces or into 8 pieces, the piece split into 4 is going to be much bigger. We also should recognise that when we're comparing fractions, we need to make our denominators the same. So to make 3/4 into eighths, we get 6/8, and then we can compare and see that 6/8 is greater than 3/8, and therefore 3/4 is more than 3/8. I'm going to move on to today's learning now, where we're looking at proper and improper fractions. So on the board I've got an example of both. 3/4 is an example of a proper fraction. As we talked about before, we have our numerator and our denominator. Denominator showing us how many parts our whole is broken into, and the numerator how many parts of that whole we have got. This is an example of an improper fraction, so 5/3 split into 3, but I've got 5 of those pieces. So my numerator is bigger than my denominator. We're going to have a look at what that looks like when we write it down, when we draw it out. To draw the fraction 5/3, which is an improper fraction, I need to start with my bar. I'm going to split my bar into 3 because that is my denominator. So I have 3 parts. If I had all 3 parts, we can say that's either 3/3, which is the same as 1 whole. But 3/3 isn't enough. I need 5/3. So I now need to draw another bar, the same size. Still going to split it into 3 because that's my denominator. Already got 3/3. And one more third is 4. And another is 5/3. So out of this bar I've shaded 2/3. In total, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/3 shaded. We can now turn this into what we call a mixed number fraction, which is where we have a whole number and a fraction. So we can see here that we've shaded 3/3, which is the same as 1 whole. So it's 1 whole, but only a fraction, the part of the whole, is shaded here, which is 2/3. So we can say an improper fraction is 5/3, and that is the same as this mixed number fraction, which is 1 whole and 2/3. Now it's time to pause the video and I want you to have a go on your own. So your improper fraction is 7/4. I want you to draw out the bar models and turn it into a mixed number fraction. So for this we should have started off with our bar model. We are splitting it into 4 equal pieces, what we call quarters. So we've got all of those pieces, 4/4, which is the same as 1 whole. I haven't got enough, so I need to draw another bar. Again, split into 4 because that's my denominator. How many more do I need? So I've got 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've just shaded 3 out of the 4 pieces. So we've got 7/4 is the same as 1 whole and 3/4. Well done if you got that. We can also do this by doing the mixed number fraction into an improper fraction, and that's what we're going to have a go at drawing now. So to start this off, with my bar, I'm going to split it into 3 pieces. Remember, that's our denominator because this is our whole, so don't fall into that trap. So I'm going to split it into 3 pieces or thirds. So I've got 3 thirds there, which is the same as 1 whole, but I need another whole set of thirds, so I'm going to draw another one. So now there's another 3 thirds, which is the same as a whole. So here I've got my 2 wholes. And now I need to draw my 2 thirds. So another bar, split into 3, and I've got 2 out of 3 of them. So all of these should be shaded in. There's my 2 thirds. I now can add up all my pieces of 3. So I've got 3, 6, and then add these 2, 7, 8 thirds in total. So 2 wholes and 2 thirds is the same as an improper fraction of 8 thirds. Your turn to pause the video again. Your mixed number is 1 whole and 3 fifths. I want you to have a go at drawing this out and turning it into an improper fraction. Okay, so for this one, you should have drawn a bar model. Our denominator is fifths, so we need to split our bar up into 5. The 1 whole bar is the same as 5 fifths or 1 whole. Then you needed to draw another bar, and for that one we'd got 3 out of the 5 shaded, and so in total you should have 5 fifths add 3 fifths, which gives us 8 fifths. Now let's have a go at turning the improper fraction into a mixed number without trying to draw it. So remember, this fraction actually means 8 divided by 6. That's our calculation. So we need to think about how many whole groups of 6 can we fit into our numerator. So here, it's just 1. 1 group of 6, which is the same as 6 sixths. Then we need to think about how many more have we got left out of that 6, and we've got 2 left over. So this would be 1 whole and 2 sixths. Now as a bit of a challenge, we can also simplify this. So this would actually be 1 whole and 1 third, because we've divided the numerator and the denominator by 3. Now time for you to have a go. So your improper fraction is 11 sevenths. If you think you need to draw it to help you, then please feel free. But if you don't think you need to, then go straight ahead. Remember, so we're thinking about our denominator. How many whole groups of 7 can we make? If it would help you, you could write out your multiples of 7 down the side, but because we have only got 1 group, it's not very necessary. So 1 group of 7, which is our 7 sevenths, and then think about how many we've got left. So 3 to get to 10, and then 1 more. So we've got 4 sevenths left over. So as a mixed number, we've got 1 whole, 7 sevenths, and 4 sevenths. We're now going to do the same thing for our mixed number fraction, turning it into an improper fraction. If it helps you to draw it, then carry on, but we're going to try and do it without. So the first thing that we need to think about is our whole number. So I've got 2 whole groups of what? Well, our denominator is 6. So I've got 2 whole groups of 6 sixths. So to turn this, I need to do 2 times by 6, which gives me 12 pieces of 6. I have actually drawn it here for you to visualise. So we've got 6, 6, 2 lots of that, times it by 2 gives us 12 pieces of 6. I then need to add on my numerator, so my 4 sixths. So 12 sixths, add my 4 sixths, gives me 16 sixths. And that is my mixed number fraction as an improper fraction, 16 sixths. So just to recap, we have times our whole number by our denominator, so that's how many parts, but then we need to add on the numerator. Your turn to pause the video and have a go. So your mixed number fraction is 2 wholes and 4 sevenths. I want you to have a go at doing this, just doing the calculations that we've just done, but if it does help you to draw it, then please feel free. So hopefully you started off by remembering we need to multiply by our denominator. So our whole number times that, so 2 times 7 gives us 14. Remember, 14 pieces of 7. Then you need to add your numerator. So 14 sevenths add 4 sevenths gives you 18 sevenths. So as an improper fraction, it is 18 sevenths. That's all from me today. As ever, the challenge is coming up next. It would be great to see more of you sending us the answers for these. We're only having a few children send these in. It's really great to stretch your brains, and I hope a few of you had a go at the fluency at the start as well. Let me know how you get on. If you're struggling with anything, or if you've got some answers, send them to the email address or post them on the class blog. I'll see you tomorrow.